Hello, welcome to the Peaceful Wood Turner. This project has nothing to do with turning specifically, but has a lot more to do with just things we can do with the shavings and everything else after we're done. I try to reuse everything as much as I can. I try to be cautious and careful and considerate of the environment and the planet, and make sure I use things fully. Why take it out of the earth and not use it, So what I have here are a whole bunch of the shavings from the different projects and stuff that I've done. Most of the time my shavings are going to go into my compost pile. That way they can get reused. They make a really good mulch. There's a lot of things you can do with shavings, but that's one of the easiest ones. Just spread it on the garden or put it in a compost pile or whatever. So that's what I usually do with it. But I've been thinking that one of the things I like to do is I like to go camping with my kids, and of course, you always need things like fire starters and stuff like that. So I thought if I take a couple of these old candles that we had sitting around, because they still have a couple inches left, so you could use them for something, and just melt them down, I can put them in with the shavings and create some nice fire starters. So I've got them sitting here in a double boiler. I don't have any heat sources in my shop because, obviously this stuff's really flammable. So I've got it melting in a double boiler. There's some really hot water in there. It's melting down pretty nicely. So I've got a couple of different molds I decided to try. One is just the plastic container from the front of a blister pack. Once again, trying to reuse things, but I thought that's a good shape for a fire starter. So I'm just going to sprinkle some in there. Not too tightly packed. You can kind of see there's a lot of air spaces and stuff in there. And I'm going to put some into this egg carton. I'm thinking with the egg carton, if the wax soaks into the egg carton a little bit, that'll be just fine because the whole thing, each of these little sections will burn nicely. So it makes a nice little set of fire starters that I can just tear off and package up and be able to take with me when we go camping. So I'm getting a nice melt there. I'm going to try, because I'm not very patient, I'm going to try just pouring a little bit of it off into here and just see what we get. Got a terrible angle here, you're not really seeing very well. So you can see it kind of soaked in. And I'm going to let it sit and do it a little bit longer. Melt a little bit more. And once it's melted a little bit more, then I'll come back to it and be able to pour it into the rest of them. Okay, magic little time lapse. You can see that this is melted down pretty much all the way. I'm going to move it over here a little out of shot, just so that I can do more of the pouring where you can actually see it. I probably should have put my gloves back on. It's running down the side of the pot, and so it's actually going into other stuff instead of going exactly where I was expecting it to go, but that's alright. There we go. So we've got some nice little fire starters started here. You can see that it's setting up nicely on the inside, and that'll make a good little addition to our camping trips. So thank you for joining me in this short little video on the Peaceful Wood Turner. So I found a couple more candles, melted them in. This is mostly pretty solid. It's a little squishy in here still, so I'm probably going to have to use a few more candles for these. This one you can see I got pretty full. Looks pretty good. Slides out nice and easy. I wasn't even planning on that. But that's a pretty good little fire starter right there. I'm going to have to test that out on my grill, see how it does, and hopefully I've got a nice setup for some good little fire starters for camping. Thank you for joining me on the Peaceful Wood Turner.